Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name's Leora and I talk on here about books and writing sometimes as well. And today I have a new video with some of my favourite graphic novel and comic recommendations. I've made one of these videos before, it's done really well, you guys really enjoyed it, and yeah, I decided it was time for a new one because I've read a bunch of new graphic novels in the meantime that I really loved, that I would love to share with you guys, so I'm really excited to do exactly that today. It's a good mix, I think there's something in there for everybody. Lots of it is fantasy though, just because I always gravitate towards fantasy stories, but there's also some contemporary in there, there's some stuff in there that's really popular, that's really well known, and then there's some stuff in there that I feel is a little bit less on the well-known side. So the first recommendation on this list is also I think the most popular one right now, or at least in my bubble or circle. That is Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. I think if you read graphic novels, you know this, you've heard of it, but maybe if you're new to the genre and you're new to YA and you're new to Netflix also, because it's been turned into a Netflix show, maybe, potentially, you've never heard of it, I don't know. Might always be a chance, right? And I want to diminish that chance by also mentioning it in this video, so everybody has heard of Heartstopper. So I think this has been one of my favourite graphic novel series ever since I got into graphic novels, so it's been a long time and I just love these graphic novels. They're so good, they're so heartwarming, and yes, let me tell you a bit of what they're about. So this is the story of Nick and Charlie who fall in love, and it's set in high school, and it's just very sweet and cute and just adorable. It deals with a lot of mental health topics, and it is definitely not a sappy, cute story all the time. There's some hardships throughout as well. It's all black and white colored art, so that is not like the most amazing thing ever, but the storytelling in this is so good, and just the expressions and sort of the heart, you know, there's really heart in this. And another thing is that it's really funny despite its more serious themes such as eating disorders and mental health problems, so that's just wonderful. It's great for balance. I read this back when it was a webcomic, and I'm so excited that it's now fully printed and a Netflix show, and that it's so well known because it's so good, and I would love for everybody to get into this. So if you want some super duper heartwarming LGBTQ stories that you feel you never got to see for the LGBTQ youth, then this is it. This is the LGBTQIA thing you want in your life, let me tell you. So yes, really lovely, and I do have to warn you, this stuff makes you want to fall in love like yesterday, like right now, right this second, so just be aware. The next graphic novel I want to talk about is something completely different, but it's also something that's fairly popular, and that is the Lock and Key graphic novels, of course, also super well known, very famous. Also been turned into a Netflix show, and I also watched the show. I think I actually first watched the show, and that's what really got me into it. The show is very whimsical and magical, and the graphic novels are a lot more grim and dark and horror. So this is the story of the Lock family who move into Key House. This is a really weird and like sort of strange New England mansion, and it's really huge and beautiful and scary, and it has these fantastical doors that can transform you and give you special powers, and there's like these magical keys that help you open the doors and enhance your abilities and stuff like that. So it's very magical, and there was still a touch of the whimsy in the graphic novels, but it's very, very different than the TV show. If you've seen the TV show, it's super colourful, it's very sort of cutesy here and there. It definitely has some darker and grim scenes in there as well, but overall the sort of feel of the whole thing is much more whimsical than the graphic novel, but I still felt like the comic also had some of that like sort of whimsy in it. I don't know. Also, I just want to say that I know I use the words comic and graphic novel interchangeably, and I know that's probably not right, but my brain can sort of just not remember what the exact difference is. Like, it's been explained to me a couple of times, but my cells can just like not grasp it, so please don't come for me, I'm so sorry. So the comic definitely has this sort of grim, bleak colour scheme, like a lot of beige and dark browns, but it's still magical keys. There's an evil that's accidentally set loose, and the kids moved there after a trauma, so there's definitely some trauma and tension, like brother-sister tension in there as well. I've only read the first issue, so I definitely want to read more. I've watched the whole TV show, so I want to read all the comics as well. So I'm really excited for that, and yeah, it's definitely one I would recommend if you're into that type of stuff, but be aware, it's a bit on the horror side of things. To switch things up, next I want to recommend something which is so wholesome again that it's unbelievable actually compared to Lock and Key. This is the Tea Dragon Society by Kay O'Neill. This is so cute. This is the cutest thing. I think next to Heartstopper, the cutest graphic novel I've ever laid my eyes upon. So it's basically about this society of tea dragons, and they grow tea leaves and you can brew tea out of that. And these comics are sort of so much about community and friendship and life and love, and they're just so lovely and heartwarming. I do have to say, most of the time the plot is like not blowing you away, but it's just the feel that comes with it all It's so cute and so lovely that you just want to keep reading them. The art's absolutely stunning. The color scheme, so beautiful. It's adorable, it's stunning, it's just so pretty. And what I also really like about these is that they go in seasons, so each chapter is a season, which is really lovely. So you can like sort of read it in any season and then feel like all cozy and like it fits the season, so that's wonderful. I've also read part 2, the Tea Dragon Festival, which is also really lovely and heartwarming. Don't want to say too much about the plot that is in here just because I don't want to spoil it for you, so you should definitely pick these up because they are so cute and really, really good. Then I want to talk about It's Okay to Feel Things Deeply. This one is a bit different than the other ones on this list because it's not really a story, it's more so sort of self-help-esque. So it's a book all about feeling things very intensely and the struggles but also the joy that can bring, and it has lots of cute illustrations. It's something you sort of sit down with for an afternoon and then just read in one go. I wouldn't say it's very deep or anything, but it just gave me that sort of pat on the back that it's all okay and that, you know, it is okay to feel things deeply. And at the time when I read it, that was just something I needed. And yeah, the art is lovely, very cute and very wonderful. So I would definitely recommend this one as well. Then next up, I want to talk about Monstrous. This is a fantasy and it is so complicated. It is like sort of steampunk matriarchal 1900s Asia with like some sort of art deco stuff in there as well. So there's lots of art influences and it's really, really beautiful. It's like one of the most stunning pieces of art I've ever seen. It also has that touch of whimsy and it's very fantastical, but it's also so complicated. Like there was so many times where I could barely wrap my head around the story because it was so much and there was so many things happening. So please don't ask me to explain the plot to you because, you know, I will try, but I don't know if it will be good. So I put like too much time between my reading sessions, so I kept forgetting like what was going on. But basically it's this world that has like sort of automatons or sort of robots or something, like creatures that are not fully human, and then it has like creatures that do feel they are fully natural, and it's sort of like there's a war going on between the two of them. I'm explaining this in the worst way. Bear with me. So there's a war, and then we follow this girl who has this sort of psychic link with this sort of big evil monster, and there's like something going on there, and she's also dealing with the trauma of war, so it's definitely very gruesome and like heavy, and it's got lots of adult topics. This is not for children, it's not YA. It was a really good story nonetheless, and definitely when I got back into it and I felt like I sort of started understanding it better again, really good. Just so well done. Then the next one I want to talk about is Nightmare in Savannah. You might have seen this on my channel already because I did a reading vlog on this one. I'm not sure if this is like a favorite graphic novel, but I definitely loved it a lot because the art is also very stunning. It's got like this really nice purpley color scheme. You see that in a lot of graphic novels, but I feel like it was done really well, especially in this one. I just really love the illustration style, and the story is also a lot of fun. So this is about Alexa, who moves to Savannah to get away from her past because her parents have sort of done this horrible crime. And then basically when she gets there, she meets Faye, Chloe and Sky, and they are sort of a group of outcasts. They sort of take her in the group and she hangs out with them all of the time. But then they turn into fairies, and this book is all about like evil fairies and sort of the evil side of the fairy lore, which I thought was so fun and so interesting. And yeah, there's lots of sort of dark scenes in here where they're like dancing around a forest fire, they're doing all this fairy manipulation, and there's lots of things going on in this book that were like unexpectedly horrible, but in like a fun way. I don't know. It was a good time, so I would definitely recommend it for the spooky season as well because it's creepy. Another graphic novel that comes highly recommended for me is Eat and Love Yourself, and this has some time travel themes in there as well, or well, more sort of flashbacks, but it's definitely an interesting concept. So this is about Mindy, and Mindy is really struggling with her weight and her body image, and she just feels she's never good enough. She looks at magazines and like thin models a lot, and she's really struggling with that. And then one night she's in the neighborhood convenience store and she's just looking for like a sort of midnight snack, and she's looking around and she sees this chocolate bar and it says Eat and Love Yourself, and she's like, that is weird, but sure. And just on a whim she buys it, and then every time she takes a bite from the chocolate bar, she's brought back to a specific moment in her past, and she sort of has to revisit it and work through her trauma, and sort of all this together is helping her accept and understand her body the way it is and love herself more. And this was just sort of so well done and such an interesting concept, and I really enjoyed it. The art is also really beautiful. It's sort of slick and clean, but still playful. And then along the way, there's also this little plot line about friendship and discovering feelings and stuff like that. And yeah, it was just really well done. And if you want to read more about body positivity and accepting yourself, this can definitely be triggering for eating disorders and stuff, so definitely be aware of that going in. But yeah, I would recommend it if you think you can handle it because it was really good. The next graphic novel is one I read a while ago, so I don't know know exactly what it was about again, but I do remember I really liked reading it. This is The Blue Road, and it is fantasy, and it's basically about this girl who was sort of set loose in a magical land, and she's got like no clue what's going on. She's just like me. She's like, I don't know what is happening. And this is all because she was living alone in a swamp, but then she sort of got let out by a will-o'-the-wisp, and now she's in the Northern Kingdom, and there she's quite lost. And she travels the Blue Road all the way to this amazing, beautiful, dazzling city. Before she gets there, she has to pass the rainbow border and like other whimsical things. But the thing is, underneath this all, there's a very clear sort of experience of entering a country as a migrant, and it's really set in that perspective. So there's sort of a dreamlike wonder as like, oh my god, where have I ended up? It's also wonderful here. But there's also this very distinct feeling of these people don't accept me, or they only accept me in very set circumstances. So only if I do this and this and this, and I must do it perfectly. Like if you were born there, you can slack off, you can make mistakes, but I'm not from here, so I should be perfect in order to be accepted even a little bit. And that's just a feeling that's very set in this story, and it's just really well done. And along the way, you also read a magical story, but you also really feel this theme, and you really sort of get that perspective. So it's a very valuable story, and I really enjoyed it. And you can definitely notice that Wade Compton is also an acclaimed poet and a prose writer. So yeah, that's really lovely as well. Okay, the last graphic novels I want to talk about are ones I've read really, really recently, but that I'm so excited about because they're definitely some of my new favorites. And this is the Magicians graphic novel series by Lila Sturgis. So yes, these are based on the books by Lev Grossman. I've also read those a really long time ago though, I must say, so like and I've also watched the TV show actually for these, but these graphic novels are not the same story as the Magicians. They're just set in the same world, which was really exciting for me. When I first found them, I was sort of swayed by the beautiful covers just because these are so stunning, like the covers are so good. But then I was like, do I want to sort of live this story again? I don't know, because I've been through it like twice now with both the books and then the TV show. But then I discovered this is a whole new story. So that was very exciting. Like same world, new story. So the thing with this new story is that the Dean of Breakbills, and Breakbills is a magic school if you're not familiar with the Magicians. It's basically a magic school. It's sort of university for magicians. What is happening at Breakbills is that the headmaster is now also accepting hedge witches and hedge magicians. So sort of people who have practiced at home. So sort of unsanctioned magic, actually. So those are sort of being invited into the ranks of this elite, snobby academy. And that of course makes a lot of tension happen in between students. But none of them are realizing that a far bigger threat of overlooming evil is happening. In the first issue already somebody dies very soon, and it's all very shocking, but it's definitely got that dark academia thing going on, and that is really great to see that in a graphic novel. And the environment, sort of the atmosphere is done so well. Love the illustrations as well. It's bordering on horror. It's definitely quite scary. There's lots of murder and sort of mature scenes, so definitely be aware of that. So there's like decapitation stuff and like the scary stuff going on. The storyline is really, really cool so far, and there's lots of humor in it, which balances it out really well, and there's lots of LGBTQIA rep that is done well so far, as I can see right now, so I'm really enjoying it. So yes, also one that comes highly recommended for me. I've read the first 3 issues and I can't wait to read more. So those were some of my favorite graphic novels that I wanted to recommend to you guys, and thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what kind of graphic novels are you reading right now, and are there any that you would recommend to me? And if you don't know what to comment, please leave a nice magical emoji in the comments down below for me so I can see that you were here and you enjoyed the video, and that always makes me really happy. And yeah, I'll see all of you in my next one. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye guys!